Boulder, Colorado, a city known for its beautiful mountain views, elite university culture, and peaceful vibe. But in 2017, behind the closed doors of a frat house just blocks from the University of Colorado campus, something horrific happened onto charismatic all-American college boy varsity swimmer, strata student, the kind of guy parents dream of, did something no one saw coming. At first it looked like an overdose. A tragedy, sure, but common in frat culture. But when police checked the basement cameras, they didn't just find drugs. They found a ritual, they found blood, they found a story so disturbing, the entire university went silent. This wasn't just hazing, this wasn't just a party gone wrong. This was premeditated, violent, and covered up, not just by students, but possibly by the school itself. What really happened inside Theta Sigma Omega frat house that night is something even seasoned detectives couldn't forget. And the boy at the center of it all, he didn't just snap, he planned every second of it. Segment 1. The star recruit Brandon Cole was the kind of boy parents dreamed about. Tall, charming, a natural athlete. He'd been a high school football star in California. When Vanderbilt University came calling, he packed his dreams, his cleats, and his college hopes and flew to Tennessee. He was on full scholarship and expected to be one of the team's star quarterbacks by the end of his sophomore year. But Brandon wasn't just a football player. He was also a proud pledge of the exclusive Theta Pi fraternity, a brotherhood of athletes, legacies, and big money connections. The house, a 3-story estate with marble counters and blackout party rooms, sat just off campus and was known across Nashville for its wild parties and no cameras allowed policy. To most outsiders, Brandon had it all: status, strength, and swagger. But behind the athletic awards and frat house smiles, there was a darker side few people ever saw, a side that was obsessive, manipulative, and eventually violent. It all began with one night, one girl, and one secret he thought he could bury forever. Segment 2. The party, June 22, 2013. A humid summer night in Nashville. It was the off-season, but the Theta Pi house was packed. Senior members were throwing a celebration for the new recruits, and that meant unlimited drinks, flashing lights, and dozens of girls from the nearby sororities. Brandon arrived with his date, a beautiful, bright pre-med student named Emily, name changed. She was sober, sharp, and not easily impressed, but Brandon had spent weeks winning her over. He opened doors, helped with her coursework, and even brought her breakfast during finals. By the time they walked through those doors that night, she trusted him completely. The party blurred quickly: shots, bass, sweat, laughter. Emily had a few drinks, then a few more. She remembered flashes of conversation, and then nothing. She blacked out, and that's when the cameras began recording. Segment 3. The crime security footage from the dorm hallway, reviewed months later by a stunned jury, showed Brandon dragging Emily's limp, unconscious body down the corridor of Gillette Hall, the athletic dorm at Vanderbilt. He wasn't alone. 3 of his teammates followed behind him, laughing, swearing, recording her body with their phones. Brandon, the golden boy, kicked open his dorm door and pulled her inside. What happened next was unthinkable, and yet it happened. Inside that room, for over 30 minutes, the group assaulted Emily repeatedly. They posed her, violated her, laughed as they did it. They recorded videos, took photos, and made jokes that would later horrify even veteran detectives. Brandon didn't just allow it, he directed it. Prosecutors would later describe him as the ringleader, orchestrating the crime as if it were a team play. And when they were finished, they cleaned the room, deleted what they could from their phones, and left her in the hallway like trash. Emily woke up hours later, bruised, naked, confused, with no memory of what had happened. But the university's servers never forgot. **** Segment 4. The cover-up. For weeks, Emily didn't know anything had happened. She felt strange, anxious, sick. She had a few bruises, but chalked it up to drinking too much. Brandon texted her sweet messages. "Last night was amazing. You were incredible." She assumed they'd hooked up even though she didn't remember a thing. But then, something started spreading. One of Brandon's teammates, clearly drunk and bragging during another party, showed someone a video, then a photo, and then the messages started. Screenshots leaked. Rumors spiraled. One anonymous student sent Emily an email with no text, just an attachment, a short clip showing her, unconscious, being posed in a degrading position on Brandon's bed. She collapsed when she saw it. Her roommate called campus security. Within hours, the clip was turned over to the Vanderbilt Police Department. An internal investigation was opened immediately. The university couldn't contain it for long. Vanderbilt PD contacted Nashville Metro Police. Within 48 hours, Emily was sitting in an interview room, being told gently, but clearly, that she had been raped. Segment 5. The investigation breaks wide open. Detectives immediately secured Brandon's dorm room and seized his phone. They were stunned to discover that not only had he filmed the entire attack, but he'd sent it to friends, one of whom lived in California. That gave police the authority to bring in the FBI. Brandon had deleted much of the content, but tech forensics restored dozens of files, including video clips showing multiple men assaulting Emily, audio of Brandon laughing, giving orders group chats where he bragged, "Bro, she was out cold. We did her like a trophy." 4 other football players were identified from the footage. Corey Bates, Yalen Thompson, Marcus Reed, and Ryan Hillel were arrested. All were charged. But Brandon, the ringleader, faced 45 years in prison if convicted. In court, prosecutors played the video to a silent, weeping jury. Even the judge turned away during parts of the playback. Brandon's defense: "She never said no. It was a frat prank. I thought it was consensual." The jury didn't buy it. Segment 6. The verdict in June 24, 2016. Brandon Cole was found guilty on all counts, including aggravated rape, aggravated sexual battery, unlawful photography, tampering with evidence. He was sentenced to 17 years without the possibility of parole. The courtroom gasped when the judge read the sentence. Brandon didn't cry. He just stared forward, stone-faced, empty. Emily, in a brave statement, said, "I lost my memory that night." But they didn't lose theirs. They knew what they did. They chose it. Segment 7. Aftermath plus campus fallout. Vanderbilt came under fire for allegedly suppressing reports of frat-related misconduct. Theta Pi's national chapter was shut down. New safety policies were put in place, but for many the damage was already done. Brandon's story, once that of a golden athlete, became a warning for schools across America. The question that echoed long after his sentencing was simple and chilling. How many more Brandon Coles are out there hiding behind frat letters and scholarships, waiting to do the unthinkable? What drives a boy to become a monster? Brandon Cole wasn't born a monster. He wasn't a drug addict. He wasn't mentally unstable. He wasn't a poor kid thrown into chaos. He was privileged, polished, protected. He grew up in a gated neighborhood. His parents were active in the community. He had tutors, coaches, access to private mentors. He was handed a full scholarship to one of the most prestigious universities in the South. He had every advantage life could offer. And yet, when he walked into that frat party, when he dragged Emily's unconscious body into his room, when he held up his phone to film the unspeakable, he wasn't confused. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't sorry. He was calculated. The question isn't just why he did it. The real question is how many people around him saw it coming and did nothing. The fraternity code of silence. Fraternities across the U.S. are supposed to be about brotherhood, loyalty, and lifelong support. But there's another side to that culture, a darker one where silence becomes complicity. At Theta Pi, Brandon wasn't the only one who knew what happened that night. Dozens of people at the party saw Emily passed out. Some watched Brandon and his friends drag her away. Others heard rumors afterward. One even received the video directly and chose to delete it rather than report it. This isn't just about one criminal. It's about a culture of protection where athletes, frat stars, and popular students are shielded from consequences until it's far too late. In Brandon's case, if that single video had never leaked, Emily might never have known what was done to her. The footage could have stayed buried. The boys might have graduated, free. And what happens to a young woman in that scenario? She carries the trauma without memory, but her body still knows. Her nervous system still reacts. Her ability to trust, to feel safe, to exist in her own body, changes forever. Emily's journey forward. Emily took a leave from school after the trial. She moved out of state, changed her major, and eventually gave up her medical career plans. But she didn't stay silent. In 2018, she returned to Vanderbilt to speak at a private sexual assault awareness forum. Her words were quiet, measured, and devastating. "I wasn't just raped. I was made into a show. I was unconscious. I was filmed. And when I woke up, I didn't know it had happened. But they did. They remembered everything. And they laughed." Today, she continues to advocate for trauma-informed education and legal reform. She works with survivor networks and consults with universities on how to handle sexual assault reporting. But she'll never fully get her old self back. The version of her, the ambitious, curious, excited college student, was taken the night Brandon Cole decided to turn her into a trophy. The hidden pattern. Brandon's case isn't isolated. In the last decade, the US has seen multiple high-profile frat-related crimes, ranging from hazing deaths to sexual assaults. Stanford Brock Turner, convicted of sexually assaulting an unconscious woman behind a dumpster. Penn State Tim Piazza hazed to death while frat brothers filmed him falling downstairs. Florida State Andrew Coffey died from alcohol poisoning during fraternity Big Brother night. Baylor University scandal. Multiple football players accused of rape, ignored by the administration. Each of these cases share something chilling. The perpetrators were seen as promising young men. The schools were slow to act. The victims were disbelieved or blamed, and the brotherhood protected its own. So again, we ask, how many Brandon Coles are still out there? How many have yet to be exposed? The psychology of predatory frat culture. Psychologists studying group behavior call this diffused responsibility. In a group, individuals feel less accountable. They act in ways they wouldn't if they were alone. Now imagine a group that's already been trained to believe they're above the rules. Women are conquests. Silence is loyalty. Status equals immunity. That's what creates a Brandon Cole. He wasn't just evil. He was enabled by culture, by silence, and by the false image of good boys in tight-knit circles. The moment his friends hit record, the moment no one said stop, they told him it was okay. What happened to the others? Brandon's co-defendants, the 3 other athletes and frat members, all faced trial. 2 took plea deals and served reduced sentences in exchange for testimony. 1 was convicted and sentenced to 15 years. 1 was acquitted due to lack of physical evidence but later expelled. Theta Pi's national chapter was permanently banned from operating at Vanderbilt. The house was eventually torn down and rebuilt into a gender-neutral academic building. But the impact remains. Parents still remember the headlines. Students still walk past Gillette Hall with unease, and survivors, like Emily, continue to live with what they endured. Justice? Maybe, but justice doesn't erase trauma. Final reflection. This story isn't about just one frat boy doing the unthinkable. It's about the myth we build around good kids. It's about the cost of protecting reputations over people. It's about how quickly charm can hide cruelty, and how often victims are disbelieved, discredited, or ignored. America's hidden crimes aren't just hidden in dark alleys or rural woods. Sometimes they're hidden inside Ivy League dorms, football locker rooms, and frat house basements, surrounded by laughter, privilege, and silence. And until we're willing to break that silence, the next Brandon Cole is already out there. Asterisk, asterisk, if this story disturbed you, it should, but don't just sit with that feeling, do something. Subscribe to America's Hidden Crimes for more real, uncomfortable, and untold stories the media buried. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was Brandon's sentence enough? Do you think frat culture encourages these crimes? Have you seen warning signs like this before? Like, comment, subscribe, because the truth won't speak for itself, but we will.